Thank you guys all for attending another office hours session. I appreciate you guys all joining us. I'll just share my screen. So my name's Matt, and we have a bunch of members from the team here today. So thank you everyone for joining. Just to do some housekeeping, we're going to be going over our add-ons for Quickbase, questions related to that. If you do have a question, we'd appreciate if you just raise your hand so we can keep things orderly. And we'll try to keep things to about 5 to 7 minutes per question. And everyone's going to be able to get a copy of this on YouTube after, so no worries. If you want to go back, you absolutely can. And after the questions, we're going to be going over one of our add-ons today, something we haven't done yet, Multifile Uploader. So this is a good one, and it pairs well with Exact Forms Plus, so we're going to show some use cases for that today. So without further ado, I want to make sure that we get to everyone's questions and make sure we have, your time set. So if anyone has any questions, now would be the time. No need to be shy. If you have something and you'd like to put in the chat, you absolutely can as well. We can get to you. The other thing is, if you have a question that comes up during the session, don't feel bad about interrupting me. I would prefer to answer your guys' questions, of course. That's what this hour is for. It's your time. But if we would prefer, we can go straight to the topic. That's no worries with me. All right, looks like we have a bunch of listeners today. No worries there. We had some good questions last week, so we appreciate the participation for sure. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. All right, so today we're going to be going over file attachment multi-file. And if you are looking here, this should look familiar. We're back in that Leases app, and you'll see we still have all of our DocuSign fields and tables up here. So everything should look very familiar. So we're just going to keep using this for now, as it's a good template. But we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to basically install Multifile Uploader from A to Z. So this app does not have it yet, but I am logged into the Juice Cloud right now, and we're going to do an installation. So I'm in our customer account. Obviously, you see everything active here. You would only see your active add-ons. But if you scroll down under File Management here, you'll see FA Multifile. So we're going to click into that today. And, this app isn't authorized yet, so I'm going to hit the button up here, Authorize a New Application. If you would already have one, again, this is the same as all of our add-ons. You could just hit Set Up Another Table. But for most of you, it's going to be Authorize a New App. So our wizard's going to come up, it's going to load, and we have a bunch of user tokens here. We've gone through this process for many other add-ons, so I'm just going to kind of breeze through this just a bit. So we have the user token selected, and we have these applications available. So I'm going to pick the Lease Management Office Hours application, and I am going to do a setup. I'm not doing Authorize Only. The only way you really use that is if you copied your application. I don't know many other use cases where you'd want to check that, Keith, right?
No, if you copy the application and it's already set up, but you just need to have it authorized, that's how you would do that.
Right. Yeah, so just a little tidbit there. That's for all of our add-ons. So I'm just going to hit next. And it's a pretty simple one from the start. But there's two options here. We're going to select the table to set up. So this is going to be your master table. So in this scenario, I'm going to pick the leases table, as that is the table I want to be the master. And then the details table. So I'm going to choose create new table because that's just the easiest option for me. I want some sort of images table to be created. I don't have an attachment or an images table already. So I'm going to go with create new table. But if you were to select another table, let's just say fresh, for example, you're going to get a bunch of new options available here. And it's going to ask you, for say, which file attachment field should these attachments be going into? Which fields would you like to update with the details table? So these are all fields in your child table, your details table. If you wanted to create an attachment field, you check that checkbox and you can name it. Again, this is only if you have like an attachments field or an images field, something like that where you'd want these to go into already. I don't, so I'm going to click create new table, and it's just going to ask me the table name. So I'm just going to call this inspection images. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going over essentially attaching images to an inspection form. So I'm going to hit finish. And we actually are going to do the live setup today. So there you go. Everything was created all nice and good. So I'm going to jump right to that leases table. And we'll go to the record we've used before. So again, this should look all familiar, but I do have here an exact forms plus button to generate inspection report. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add right after inspection notes general, I'm going to add that new field, but let me just check the very bottom. So it was not added to my table, so that this should work. And let's see. So this is going to be the table. Let me see if I can edit this. Port link.
No, you're in the field properties, yeah.
Right. There we go. Keith. And I should have just went in from there, but I'll just go to customize the form. That might be easier. So we should have a new upload button created. I believe upload files, there it is. All right. So now that we have this upload files and the inspection images here, it really is that simple. You have the two fields created, and if you look up at the top, we have this inspection images table. But before I even go in and start adding files here, because I can click this and you'll see our UI come up. Well, that's not good. We'll check that out in a second. But before we even go into that, I'm going to go into the inspection images table, and I'm going to make some new fields. So right now, we have just the document, which is file attachment field, and the description, which is a text multi-line. I'm going to add some more that are going to be relevant to what we're doing. So I'm going to add a field for quality. And that's going to be a text multiple choice. And then I'm going to add an approved checkbox. All right, and I think that's all I'm going to want for now. And for this one, I'm just going to add some stuff for the inspection. So I'm going to say bad, good, and great. Just keep it nice and simple. And we're not going to allow people to make new choices. All right. So I've got those new fields on here, and the reason why I'm putting those in is if you were to, have an inspection, you might want to update some fields right from the upload. So that's what we're going to want to do, and I'm a little uneasy about that object reference issue here. So we're going to go in and take a look and see what's going on, why it might be doing that. So that looks okay. Related FID 6, that should be fine too. I do false. Let's see. So that might not be right. Is it the lease number? So lease number is what we're using, and it did pick that up. That is the record ID. Let's see what happens when I upload one. I'm going to guess we're going to get an error. We're getting this object reference issue. Let's go ahead and let's select a field. And I'm going to put in Windows right now because I was going to show you guys some inspections. But I'm just going to do one quick upload to see. Yeah, it looks like I got an error. Let's see. Did it upload? No. All right, I'm gonna immediately call Lifeline. Manal, are you here?
Yes, Matthew, I'm looking at it. I can see your application. Can you?
Yeah, I could add you really quick. So, you never just go too simple. All right. Let's see. Well, I put it in the chat for you if you can just look at that. But we're gonna just kind of take a look and see. We're gonna go into the exact forms plus part of this. So we're gonna switch up the order a little bit. So I have this generate inspection report here, and as always with exact forms plus, it's typical. I've been telling my clients this lately. You want to make sure. Oh, did I just lose the share?
No, we can still see.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened there, but you can see that from lines 5 up, you typically don't need to mess with anything in that. So I wouldn't touch anything here. But for line 6, this TPID equals 2. So we're using document template 2. And I'll just pull up this other lease management so we can pull up this document templates table. So we have inspection template, which is record ID 2. And we're calling it FN, file name, inspection for active landlord. Besides that, we have the MSID and MSDB. Again, these two right here, you really don't need to change. This is saying that you're generating, for this record on this table. And so you don't really need to mess with these. But I did actually alter these two fields as well. So it's the file attachment ID. I set it 139. I just made that field. And EFP DT, that's a date field. And I just made this one as well. So 140. So I just made those two fields and I just changed them here. So we have 139 and 140. And the template we're going to be generating is a pretty simple one. It's really just an inspection report. And we're going to be including those images from Multifile up there. So I have a few things here. And I actually proactively added strid equals 2. And that's the subtable reference ID number. And we didn't make that subtable yet. But we're going to. So I might as well just make that now while we have Manal taking a look at this. So I'm going to add new document subtable here. And I'm going to make a subtable based off of a few things. So it's for the master table leases. And we're going to have this be for the inspection images. So I'm just going to call it inspection images. You can call it whatever you like. This is just needs to be filled in. And we're going to pick inspection images. And I'm going to hit next. So it's already related, which is great, but that's not the only thing we want to do in this filter criteria here, because what I want to make sure I do is only have the images that are approved. So I made this approved checkbox, so it should be pretty simple. And I'm going to put that as is, and I'm going to enter a static value of 1. So for a checkbox, we're going to have it be the checkbox is checked. So that's 1. If I wanted to be the checkbox is not checked or not approved, I'd put 0. But we're going to go with 1, and I'm just going to hit add filter. So approved is 1, and I'm just going to hit next. So from here, I'm going to be making that subtable, the columns from left to right. And we've gone over this in the past, but for many of you, you may be new here, so I'm just going to go through the whole process. So I want to include description, for example, and it's going to be a little bit longer than the rest, so I'm going to do 200. And I want to have the image itself. So I'm going to pick the document, and I'm going to have that also be, let's just say 200. And lastly, I'm going to have approved, which is that checkbox. And I think 50 should be fine to show the checkbox. And I think for the document, we can just call this image instead. So I'm going to do a text column label override, and description seems fine to me. So I think those 3 should be it. And that's all I really think I need. And you know what? Let's add quality. And this will just be, we'll make that 100. All right. That looks good. So I'm going to hit save changes. And from sorting and grouping wise, I'm not really too worried about that for this example. If you guys are interested in learning more about sorting and grouping and subtable formatting options, we have some other office hour videos on this. From the past that I can definitely direct you to. But for now, for this example, I'm just going to keep this all at the standard format, just for simplicity. All right. So when I look at this inspection template now, you will see that I have this setting string. And just one more note. I don't know if we could change this, Keith, but one thing that I want to put on here, and I recommend it to all my clients when I work with them, is that template reference. So we're going to go and find that document subtable, and we're going to keep that, but we're going to hit change settings here.
Matt, if you just choose the list all report, it probably
It'll do that?
does that.
Well, I'm gonna scrap notes and I'm gonna put template reference in, and I do this, for a lot of my customers. I don't like doing list all, I guess, but that you can reference any template, right, Keith, with the subtable?
Yeah, you can reference any report, yes, but in the I usually change it just to list all. I don't have to change the report.
Right. Well, there's multiple ways to get to the same result. So I added the template reference here just so that when you make one of these subtables, what you should be putting on the document. So if you remember when I pulled up that document, not this one, but I think I had another one up. I don't know where that went. I had strid equals 2 on that document because this is the subtable I want to be generating. If I were to have added another one, or I will add another one, that would be strid equals 3. They go up sequentially in record ID order. All right, so now that this is there, I'm pretty much all set to come back here. And I'm gonna try to tag in Manal again. Manal, did you have a chance to take a look at this? Everything looks the same. Could have been me. I could have broke something, which is totally possible. I do have this in another app that is completely all built already. So if we need, we can of course pivot to that. But I'm not sure if maybe I'm pointing to the wrong place just because we are using RID, which is a little bit special compared to others. So let me press that again and let's see what happens. All right, so it's looking more promising. So if I was an inspector, for example, I would choose the files that I wanted to update. So I can pick kitchen sink, and we're going to pick trash can, and it doesn't like trash can, and I'm assuming that's because of the file type. So it gives you a nice red message. Let me zoom in here so you guys can see it's in red. So we're going to remove that one. It doesn't like that one. And let's try Windows instead. It doesn't like Windows either. So it seems like it only likes the JPEG. So let me do this. What you can do, and what I like about it, is you can actually drag and drop images over, which I feel is pretty cool and makes life pretty easy. So let's just do a Google search and let's look up flooring. Okay. And if you guys didn't realize, I am on the other window, so just bear with me.
We do have some restrictions in file types, so we allow you to let us know which file types you want to allow to be uploaded and which ones you don't. So that's probably why you show the red lights.
Yeah, and if I pull one of those back up, I think it was this one. I mean, it ends in AVI.
Yeah, it's not a valid file extension.
Right. JPEG's usually pretty safe. Image is pretty safe. So those two, and let's pick one other one. Google's trying to have me sign in, but let me. So let's just upload these and see if we get there. All right. So the selected files were uploaded successfully to Quickbase. So Manal might not be saying anything, but she might be doing some wizard stuff behind the scenes, or it just figured itself out. All right. So, yep, Sean, I see you have a question, so I'm going to pause there now that we have these files uploaded, and let's go to you.
Okay, thanks. So you said you can expand to where it's not just JPEG, but other image types as well, but that's somewhere in the settings that we haven't seen yet?
No, we have some just regular default ones that we can do. Is there a specific file type that you're trying to or wondering about? I can let you know.
No, I from that statement, I was just wanting a little more clarification.
We store that on our back end. So
Okay.
if you gave us a list of file extensions that you want to be valid, you just have to let us know what those are. And we update your client profile in the back end on our side, and then those will be available.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. So good question. And something else since we're on the topic, some default sizing. Obviously all file attachment fields in Quickbase have a maximum limit of 75 MB. But we do allow you to upload files that are lower than 75 MB, and you can do multiple of them. I believe we have on the newest version of Multifile Upload, you can do up to 2 gigs in one upload, not per file, but per upload. Per file is less than 75 MB, of course, because we're going into a Quickbase file attachment field. And again, that is for only the newest clients. So if you're on the newest version, you'll have that ability. If you're on a historic version, it'll be lower than that. So now I have this report here, and I'm just going to shift back to this. And I'm not really, too fond of how it's appearing here. So I'm just going to go to customize this form, and I'm going to go down to the inspection info, and let's take a look at the inspection images.
Choose list all.
You want me to choose list all?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to do list all. And that will show all the images. And let me go into the field properties of this. And I'm going to show this as a JPEG because I want to see the images. All right, will that not show here, Keith?
Not in the report. It'll show it on the form. There you go.
Okay, good. So, we see the images now, and that's starting to look good, and things are coming together now. So let's go back in, and let's go back to this report here. And I'm going to click upload files again, and we're going to click in, and hypothetically, you can do this after the fact. I clicked on file details, or you could do this at this point. So I'm going to add a few more things, but I want to actually be able to edit them from this list here instead. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to click edit the field properties of this button, and I'm going to navigate down. And like I said before, everything really above 5, you don't need to worry about. 6, only if you have a required app token, do you need that. The detail DBID, as long as you're not changing where you're planning on storing these, you don't need to touch that ever. Same with the related field. The file attachment field, this is in the details table, the child table. This is where that file's going, so you don't need to change that typically. But the C list here, this is something where we're actually going to change now. So I'm going to go over into the inspection images, and I'm going to look at those new fields that I added. So I added 9 and 10, and I want to include those in my multi-file. So I just add 9 and 10 to the C list, and let's hit save. So now if I click upload files, and you could do this either during or after. So if I add another picture of like, let's just say a trash can. So I'm going to put this trash can in here, and I'm going to click up complete upload, but then I'm going to move over to the file details, and I'm going to say that I want to edit these, and I want to actually, so I can view this file, so I can see over here, okay, there's my trash can. I can view this file and see, okay, there's my sink, but I want to actually make some edits to the records. So I can update the description here. So I can say trash can in kitchen. And if I'm an inspector, in a hypothetical situation, I can say that this trash can quality was bad, good, or great. So, it looks pretty great to me, and I'm going to approve this. I'm going to check that I want to approve this, and that was going to be on my inspection report as long as you press this update field. So now I hit update. You see my descriptions updated, my quality, and my approved. So let's make another change, and this is the sink. So I can say sink in kitchen, and I can say the quality is good, and I also approve this one. So I can hit update again, and when you hit exit, come back, and you can actually see that those records are now updated as well. So now that those records are updated and they're both approved, I want to generate, like I showed you before, TPID2. And TPID2, if I go back to my templates, I guess that was not the best way to do it, but if I go back to my templates, I'm generating this inspection template. So I'm going to click this. We're going to get my loading panel up here. I am zoomed in a bit. So I'm going to zoom out. And one document was created successfully. That's great. Close. And now I can view my inspection for Scrooge. So let's take a look at that. All right. So I have my 2 pieces here. They're a little big, so pushed over to 2 pages, but it's good to see a page break. And you could see, you know, obviously these images take up more space, but for the most part, this is my inspection report. If I had these a little bit smaller images, it could be on one page. If I had more than 2 images, of course, I can keep this going down the page as well. And we do have clients who do tons and tons of images as they continue to do their inspection, but it most likely would not be just 2. So now that we went over that, I'm going to pause and see, does anyone have any questions on what was done so far? I was requested a couple of meetings ago to slow down a little bit. So I just want to make sure you guys all have the ability to kind of digest what just happened there.
Yeah, I ask a quick question. So when you added the file, the trash can file, you did the upload, then you went in and edited the details.
Right.
Can you just add the file and then update the details and then do the upload, or do you have to do it in 2 steps like that, where you upload it and then edit the details?
So there's actually one thing you can do. So if I hit upload here, I can add something here to pick a type, so I can make a change there. But are you referring to the rest of the fields?
Yeah, that when you, yeah, for the file details, does it have to be uploaded first, or once you drop it or do the manual add, does it show in the file details to make the changes before you do the upload?
You know, that's a good question. So let
We
me
need to upload the files first, because as we upload, we are inserting a new record in Quickbase here, right? So without having a record into the Quickbase, you can't add the details.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So that's where I was gonna go. I just added another trash can here. I was gonna see if it would be in the file details. It is not. And it actually clears that out when all I can see. So you have to make sure you hit click to complete file upload before you go on to the file details, or else it will not be there. And obviously to what Manal's point was, you know, the record needs to be there for us to upload, for us to update, really rather. All right, so let me pause from this. And that was a good question, Sean. I appreciate the participation. If I were to now go into our help. So, you know, for those of you who may have visited before, this is our help site. And I'm going to navigate down to file management here. And I'm going to go into file attachment multifile. And I'm going to go into the formula URL parameters. So this is going to give you all of the available parameters for this add-on. And like I've mentioned in the past, most of these from this point up are pretty much standard parameters that you can find in almost every single one of our add-ons. These ones, as long as you do the installation from the cloud, will be all set up for you. You typically don't need to mess with these. And then we have the C list. So the C list is what I just updated. So I thought it'd be a good idea to show you guys what exactly this says on the help site. So it includes a list of fields from the related table, the child table, to reference in the details of the parameters. So essentially, like I showed you, you can add fields from that child table to show as ones you can edit here. One thing I do see is D20, and I know this is coming from our demo. I believe D is for date. Manal, do you know if there's any other fields that we have to denote the type for?
No, only the date.
Only the date.
Yes.
So if you have a date field and you would like to update that, which is very common, you know, if you have an inspection date, you might want to update that. You have to put the D in front. The rest of them are just the files, the field ID numbers. So I did update that already. If I were to add more fields to my inspections table, so if I go look at one, if I wanted to add additional fields, I would just continue to add that to the C list as well. I think, did we have a maximum at all? I don't believe we do have one written anywhere.
10, we can add 10.
So we'll put 10 as the max for the C list of fields you can update while uploading. And I'm going to continue going down because we did show C list. And this is one of the ones that gets updated with it as well, allow dupes. So I think this one makes a lot of sense, and it would also make sense to the behavior that I saw before. If you have a file name with the exact same name and allow dupes is false, it's actually just going to update that existing record in there, especially if it's for the same record ID. So I believe if I had the name download twice, I uploaded it again after the fact, it's just going to update that existing record. So if you had something else with the same name, it's saying allow dupes false. You can put allow dupes to be true, and you would have multiple records with the same file name. Hide FA. So I didn't actually test this one. To hide the file attachment field from showing, use this parameter and set it to Y. I'm not sure why you would want to do that. I can't think of a use case where you'd want to do that, but if you wanted to hide the file attachment field, you could set this to Y. If you wanted it to be no, you could comment it out, or I'm assuming you could put it as N.
Well, a lot of times, one of the reasons why that was put in is because they only wanted people to upload files and not be able to download them. So if you had somebody who had a role that they just want to upload files into Quickbase and they want to use a multi-file uploader, this way they couldn't go to the file details and then click the view file button for some previous files that might have been uploaded.
Right. That's actually a very, very good use case. It makes a lot of sense too, because you might have multiple files being updated for the same record, especially too, and could be different people working on the same project. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Keith. The other option here, and I'm going to show you guys option 2 in a second, is type, and this allows you to select something before it's uploaded actually, and I believe this kind of refers to what Sean was going towards. So I'm just going to grab this quickly. Actually, I'm just going to grab it. And I'm going to go into that field, and I'm going to edit this upload. And I'm going to add it right about here. And I'm going to do ampersand space quote, and I'm going to throw that in there. And I forgot an ampersand. Don't forget the ampersand. 2 ampersands. And the type field I don't actually have made yet, but assuming since I didn't make any other ones, it's going to be field 11. So I'm just going to hit save on that, and let's go make a type field. So let's make a new field. Let's call this document type. And I'm going to do text multiple choice again. And I'm going to say either inspection, invoice, quote. Allow users to make new choices and hit next. So now we have field 11 as document type, and I just added it to that upload button. So now when I press the upload button, I have this drop down here. Please select associated document type from the list. So I can say that this is an inspection document type. And Sean, I believe that is where you were going with your question. The only thing is this is only one field that you can update prior to doing it. So if I were to select a document type, I don't really know if I have one. Google continues trying to make me share. So let's see, what else would you be inspecting? Maybe a door. And let's just take this door, and so let me save that actually, so I can show you guys the save version. So
And that type is going to be associated to all of the files in this session that you upload. So if you uploaded 5 files in this session right now, all 5 of them would be defaulted to inspection in the document type on the inspection images table.
that makes sense too, because I can't change it for each one.
Right.
Right. Okay. So that makes sense. So that's a good tidbit to have in there. So any one of these. So if I picked invoice for this one, every file uploaded in this multi-file will be an invoice. If I pick inspection, they're all going to be inspection. So let's see. Doorway, it still doesn't like that file extension type. Can't find JPEGs anywhere, I guess. So
You could probably upload more than JPEGs. I'm not sure what the file types are set on this.
I would assume images are going to work as well. But every time I get one of these files, it seems to not like the file extension that it's saving as.
Isn't there a PDF in there or something?
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so let's do this. I'll put this tree in that I just got. So tree. Now, I'm not inspecting the tree, I'll be honest, but And let's see this document. So let's do office hours template, and that's PowerPoint. So it seems to like that, but I don't know if we're going to be able to put that on the document. So I'm going to close that. And let's pick a different one. Let's pick sample template. So docx it seems to like as well. So these are all going to be inspection type. And again, 2 files were uploaded. Total number of files uploaded as revision 0. And now if I went into the file details, you'll see, 2 without it, but I can view the file. And that opens up this sample template that I got here. So that opens up my order. And if I view the file here, I have this nice tree sunset that I just got quickly from the internet. Ooh, let's get that back up. And let's do this. And let's say Word doc. And values is great, but I'm not going to approve that one actually. So that should not be added to the document. And then let's pick tree. And this one's going to say great as well. And I'm going to approve this one. Awesome. So again, all of those get updated. And now you have the document type as an inspection for both, as Keith was mentioning. And if I were to generate another inspection report, you're going to get these 3 on there in accordance to the filtering that we had. So I can always show the inspection for Scrooge McDuck again. We're not going to jump into that. I am going to jump into the default for the text. This basically is allowing you to put a default in for that field we just added to the document type field. So say you had a bunch of them, some clients may have several different document types that they have, but they want to default it to an invoice each time. So what I can do is I can take this type of field and right below it, I can put that in, and let's put the default as quote. Actually, let's see that. So I hand wrote quote in there. So now, hypothetically, when I press this upload file again, it should default the value to quote. So again, that's for people who may have many document types and they want their employees to have it set as quote. Maybe their employees aren't necessarily going to change that each time. So it defaults to quote, but it can, of course, change it back to one of the other ones. And let me just put in that hide FA parameter because Keith actually had a pretty good use case for it. So let me do that. Let's see. So if I put hide FA, let's go back and let's make another alteration to this parameter. Again, I'm just going to go about. So let's do hide FA equals Y. And let's hit save. So now, from Keith's description, I should not be able to view these files, and I cannot. So that is a pretty good use case, actually, Keith. That's something that could be very helpful when you have multiple people working on the same project, for sure. Right. And again, I am zoomed in a little bit just so I can show you guys so it does fit in there. As per any of our rich text add-ons, if you feel that the sizing's not really correct and you want to show it a little bit more, you could always edit the data height and data width here. So if you feel you want to see a bigger version on that screen, you absolutely can do that as well. But from there, I'm not going to go into option 3. Option 3 is really, you have to have a third table, I believe, to show that. That's not something that I really think is relevant to show right now. That's just allowing you to pick the document type that we were just showing you guys from another table. So we're not going to go into that, but that is another option. If you're interested in it, we can definitely answer some questions on it. And as with all of our add-ons, there is a public-facing demo for this. So if you guys are interested in learning about it more yourself, you can absolutely do it. And you would have the same options here. It's going to be the same look and feel that you just saw, and you'll be able to, play with the file details. This one has a little bit more. So if I were to edit this one, I can pick the document type, the date. As Manal was saying, the date field does need to have something different. So I can put my, today's date in, the description, as I showed you, approve checkbox, and a multiple select text field I can put in here, and I can say, this was good. And I can update that and close it out. Let's see, I don't believe that's going to go on the top just based off of this amount of project documents in this one. But here it is here. Well, yellow PNG. All right, so as many of you may have questions, this is your time. Again, you don't have to have questions on multi-file attachment, but I would be happy to answer questions on that or on any of our add-ons, Exact Forms Plus, Excel docs, whatever, might be on your mind, Courier potentially. Nothing. I feel that went well. So at this point, if we have no other questions, that's really all I have to show you guys about multi-file attachment. Laura. Woo-hoo.
Sorry, I just have a quick question because this came up the other day. So
Right.
I have some age-old clients who use QB Courier, and we have the configuration set up in the old QB Courier app.
Right.
My question is, we also have a cloud login. Can we mix and match in that? Can we create new configurations in the cloud and continue operating the existing ones in the old system? Or do we need to switch everything to new, or do we continue using the old? That's question one. And if the answer to question one is continue using the old, can you give us the ability to add configurations?
So two things, you can mix and match. If you want us to transfer any of the old to the cloud, I absolutely can migrate that for you. So you can mix and match. If you would like to continue using the old, I can't really speak for Keith, but I can absolutely make you a new configuration and assign it to you. Keith might think otherwise. That is.
Yeah, we're trying to migrate everybody off of the old. So
Right.
if you need a new one, yeah, matters, or I can duplicate one for you, Laura. But we're probably not going to give you add because we'd rather people move to the cloud. But like Matt said, you can have a mix.
As long as the mix works, I'll start getting the client to use the online version.
And we can help you migrate those as well, Laura.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot to love about the old. That's when you're used to it.
Because it's Quickbase too. So especially if you've been using it for a while, you get used to it.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you for asking. A good question. So yep, that was referring to Courier, and using Courier within the cloud as well. So any other questions? We have about 18 to 17 minutes left before the top of the hour. If there's no other questions, we're gonna probably close this out and give you guys about 15 minutes of your day back. But as always, we really appreciate you guys joining us. This will be available to all of you. And if you have questions after the meeting, please feel free to reach out. Keith, Justin, any last minute?
Nope. Thank you.